Did the Epstein files just expose Pam Bondi's quiet connection? In a hearing that was supposed to be about free speech, lawmakers stumbled into a scandal. Vanished binders, redacted lists, and a former attorney general's name in the middle of it all. And when the questions turned to Bondi, every witness went silent. Watch carefully, because every missing page tells you who's really being protected.
I'm sorry to hear you're leaving the hearing early.
Well, it's not a question of leaving the hearing early, but I do have other things to do. Yes.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. Where are you going?
It's not lunch, I promise you.
It's not lunch. You're not going to have lunch.
I don't think so, no.
No lunch.
Sad, isn't it?
You're meeting with the president?
I can't remember what the schedule is. It's possible.
You can't remember if you're meeting with the president.
I'm being very polite, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing this afternoon, but I can assure you that...
But there's the free speech hearing. You're not going to tell me what you're doing this afternoon?
Free speech is one thing. Discretion's quite another, too.
Okay. All right, so you're leaving to have lunch with the president. So, Mr. Farage, I have a question. Have you heard about the Epstein thing that's going on here?
I have.
You have? What do you think about it?
I'm not going to give comment on anything happening in America. I'm here as a witness.
Perfect.
I'm here as a witness.
I'm
here as a witness for what is happening in the United Kingdom and in the European
Perfect. Let me just go through it. So it's been 9 months, right, since we've been meeting in these hearings. We've not had Pam Bondi here, even though we have jurisdiction over the Department of Justice, not Dan Bondi.
The gentleman yield?
Not Kash Patel. I will 100%. We'll go back and forth. Let me just do my thing.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to correct. Kash Patel's coming in 2. I'll give you an extra 10 seconds. Kash Patel, the director of FBI, is coming in 2 weeks, and the attorney general's coming in 4 weeks.
Fantastic. But still, we're not doing that this week. The week we're having votes on the Epstein thing. So, Pam Bondi gives the influencers, these Republican influencers, a binder. It says Part 1 of the Epstein files. No one of you saw it. It was quite spectacular. The Attorney General then says the Epstein list is on her desk. Then DOJ issues a memo, says there is no list. Then, you have any questions about any of that? We've had no hearings on any of that at all. That, the list is on my desk, then there is no list. Then we gave binders to Republican influencers. This committee said no questions on any of how that transpired at the Department of Justice. Then hold on.
Well, it sounds like you're going to in the next few weeks. So that's a jolly good thing.
Mr. Farage, we can talk soon, but not yet. Okay.
Right.
So then the president comes out and says the whole thing's a hoax. He blasts his own base. He blames Barack Obama. I mean, he hasn't been president for a very long time. Republicans then in committee vote against the release in the Rules Committee. Then Republicans refuse to go back in the Rules Committee because they're getting blasted for their vote, getting crushed by their own base. Congress leaves a day early. Then the administration sends the Deputy Attorney General to meet with Maxwell in jail. He happens to be Trump's former personal attorney. She says something favorable about the president. Miraculously, she gets transferred to a minimum security prison. The president starts talking about how he has the right to pardon her if he wanted to. The leaks to the Wall Street Journal then stop. We come back from break. We have the Massey petition. Comer does a document dump where 97% of these documents are already public. How long has he had those documents? Why hasn't he released them for the last 6 weeks? Does it the day of the vote. Then Republicans drop a non-binding resolution trying to kill the Massey discharge petition. The White House said passing the Massey discharge petition is a hostile act. Wow. That's a lot of distraction and deflection and misinformation. Wait, passing a discharge petition to release the Epstein files, the White House said would be a hostile act. Nope, we have no questions about that. But why? Why is it that we're spending so much political capital to keep this list from coming out? You think the list should come out? You think we should know the people who dealt with Mr. Epstein, Mr. Farage?
I thought I was coming to a hearing on free speech, not process.
Oh, but listen, but here's the good...
It sounds like you're discussing process.
No. Do you think the list should come out?
I have no opinion on it. I don't know at all.
So we have victims that were sexually abused by potentially people in power, and we don't know who's on the list.
I'm very happy.
Hold on, Mr. Farage. We don't know who's on the list. We don't know who's on the list. We don't know if the president is or is not. I'm not going to say he is or isn't. I'm just going to say these are weird behaviors. We don't know that there aren't other people in Congress that are on the list. Right? We have no idea. Do you think the list should come out? You think people in power should be held to account for these victims who have been sexually abused and assaulted? You think the list should come out?
I think that I'm very happy to come to a different hearing where you talk about legal process.
Okay.
But today,
Will the gentleman yield for a quick question?
Today we'll stick to
Were
free
you
speech.
aware that he has already called for the Epstein file to be released? It has been reported that he has called for it to be released.
Oh yeah, right here, just to refresh your memory.
Yeah, but it's,
I happen to have this.
But that's not
How
what
random.
But that is not. Look, you can ask me if you like about
Do you agree
social
with
security
yourself?
policy.
Do you agree with yourself?
We are here to
you-
discuss free speech.
Hold on, it's awkward for your lunch after this? Do you agree with yourself?
No, it isn't at all.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm just curious. This committee has jurisdiction over the
Gentleman's
Department of
time.
Justice.
Yeah.
Why have we allowed Comer to cover this up for the last couple of months?
As I said,
why is this committee not
I
taking
said 6 weeks
jurisdiction?
ago that we will have the FBI director in, we will have the attorney general in, and we are doing that in 2 weeks. You can you can go through that whole list. That whole list, you can do whatever you want to do with, I got lots of questions for the FBI director, including the whistleblower who came forward and told him that Adam Schiff leaked classified information. I want to ask him about that as well as the issues you all want to ask him about. That's why he's coming, so we can ask all these questions and follow the process, as Mr. Farage just talked about.
Mr.
The
Chairman,
gentleman
I mean,
from Virginia.
unanimous consent.
Unanimous consent?
I'd like to enter the political article into the record that Mr. Farage said the Epstein file should be released.
It all began when Congressman Jared Moskowitz started asking questions no one wanted to answer. His target? A British witness named Nigel Farage. His topic? Not free speech, but what happened to the Epstein files that everyone keeps pretending don't exist. At first, it sounded like small talk. "Where are you going after this hearing?" he asked, but then came the line that froze the room. "Are you meeting with the president?" The laughter stopped. The tone shifted. And before anyone realized it, the hearing was no longer about online censorship. It was about power, secrets, and a list that keeps disappearing. Pam Bondi's name entered the scene like a spark in gasoline. Months ago, she'd reportedly given Republican influencers glossy binders labeled Part 1, the Epstein files. Inside were supposedly fragments of names and notes tied to the case. Then suddenly, the Department of Justice claimed no list existed. So how could something be on her desk one week, then vanish the next? That's the question no one in Congress seemed ready to touch. The Department of Justice ducked it. Bondi stayed silent, and every time lawmakers tried to dig deeper, the narrative changed again. First, the files existed, then they didn't. Then they existed again, but only for authorized eyes. The contradictions became impossible to ignore, and as this hearing unfolded, it became clear that this wasn't about one woman or one memo. It was about how far political power will go to protect itself. Because just when the committee was supposed to vote on releasing the Epstein records, everything got delayed again. Then, a twist. The Deputy Attorney General, who once worked as the president's personal lawyer, quietly met with Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. Within days, she was transferred to a lower security facility. Then, the leaks stopped. If this were a movie, critics would call the plot too obvious. When the White House later called the release of Epstein's files a hostile act, even seasoned insiders couldn't believe it. Hostile to who? To justice? To victims? Or to reputations that might not survive daylight? And yet, Pam Bondi remained silent. The woman who once promised to uphold transparency was now at the center of a scandal defined by secrecy. Her name keeps surfacing in hearings, memos, and whispers, but never in answers. The most striking part of the exchange wasn't the shouting or the sarcasm, it was the silence. Lawmakers danced around the topic, witnesses deflected, and the audience sat stunned as the hearing turned into something bigger than politics. It became a glimpse into how truth is managed. One congressman summed it up best. "Why are we spending so much political capital to keep this list from coming out?" No one replied. Because in Washington, silence often says more than denial ever could. The Epstein files scandal isn't just about a list. It's about who gets to decide what the public is allowed to know. And right now, that decision seems to be in the hands of people who would rather let the story fade than let the truth come out. But scandals have a way of catching up. And Pam Bondi's name? It's already written in the footnotes of this one.